Good morning, Canada. Welcome to the weekend edition of Your Morning. I'm Anne-Marie Mediwake.
I'm Lindsey Deluce.
And I'm Kelsey McEwen. Thanks for joining us on this Thanksgiving weekend.
We have a lot of great conversations coming up for you, including a closer look at Tilly Norwood. If you haven't heard of her or seen her, she's an AI-generated actress that is sparking a lot of backlash in Hollywood.
It's hard even to call her a she. It's like, do we call it an it?
She's an it.
It's an it.
I know. Well, AI, as we know, is inching its way into every facet of our lives. This is a really interesting conversation. Tilly really looks so real.
Yeah, you have to stay tuned for this conversation. Also coming up here on the show, from OZEMPIC to Mounjaro, there are many injectables on the market in terms of weight loss. But did you know there could also be daily pills coming as early as next year? Here's that conversation.
The drug makers who have dominated the weight loss market with injectables are now in a race to deliver the same result in a daily pill. Pharmaceutical giants Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk both say they are in late-stage trials for a GLP-1 oral medication. Experts say this could be the first daily pill on the market, or these could be. Joining me with more on where these trials currently stand is Jennifer Lake, pharmacist and assistant professor at the Leslie Dan Faculty of Pharmacy, University of Toronto. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
I have so many questions. Let's start with what oral medications are being rolled out. What's the plan?
So there's two oral medications really that are coming out, and they just announced their phase 3 trials, which are really the last trials before they apply for approval in countries. And so it's orforglipron from Eli Lilly.
Catchy.
I know, no brand name for that yet.
Okay.
So right now that's how we say it. And then there's an oral tablet Wegovy, which is the semaglutide. So it's an oral of the exact same as the injectable we have now.
So we know that Novo Nordisk currently has a diabetes pill on the market, Rybelsus, right?
Yes.
You may have seen those commercials. They pop up all the time. How does that compare to what we're seeing in the trials?
So very similar to how we have Ozempic and Wegovy in injections. Rybelsus is like the Ozempic oral tablet, and then we're going to have a higher dose semaglutide, which will be called the oral Wegovy.
Okay, and what is the difference between injectables and pills?
So really they're the same drug. One of the things that's been with the GLP-1 agonists is because they are built like a hormone, when you take them by mouth, they hit the stomach acid and not as much gets absorbed in your body. When you inject it, it goes right into your blood, so the patient gets 100% of the dose. What we're seeing now is using higher doses to get the same effects as an injectable. And with the new one from Eli Lilly, the orforglipron, it's actually a bit of a different types of medication, and so it is absorbed better.
Okay, when you say better, so is it as effective as the injectable?
Yeah, so the two trials that have come out just in a European conference this month have showed that it's similar to the injectable Wegovy at lower doses or the oral Wegovy at lower doses. So that's really the question we have now is, if we do the oral Wegovy at higher doses, will it be a little bit better than the new Eli Lilly drug? And we don't know yet.
We don't know yet because the trial's not done.
Well, the trial is done at lower doses.
I see.
So we're seeing that the companies are coming out sort of saying, well, this wasn't the dose the 25 milligram dose of Wegovy, which is what we're expecting for the oral. It was done at the lower dose, a little bit between Rybelsus and Wegovy.
Side effects?
Side effects are going to be very similar. Because we're using these higher doses, we'll probably see very similar amounts of nausea and vomiting. And when we see the discontinuations, they are in about the 10 to 15% of people weren't able to tolerate these drugs. So that's very similar to the injectables.
Will they be cheaper?
So that's really what Eli Lilly is banking on. As we look around, they haven't applied in any country yet, so we don't know exactly the cost, but they're saying they're going to be lower cost than injectable Wegovy in the US. And we're expecting to see them apply to the US very soon. And that government has created a new program that can fast track medications if they meet a public health need, if they will make the medication in the US. And so it'll be interesting to see if Eli Lilly goes that way. And they're saying it could be an 8-week turnaround. So it'll be very interesting.
So hitting the US first, when can we see this in Canada?
So usually we see the Canadian applications about 6 to 12 months afterwards. So we would expect that it'll be sometime at the end of 2025, early 2026, which makes...
In Canada?
Yeah.
Oh, that is soon.
Yeah, which makes 2026 really interesting because semaglutide is going generic, so we're going to see a lot of different products for semaglutide injectable.
When does that happen?
In January.
That happens in January.
So we'll see new injectable semaglutides, and then these new oral medications. And so it's going to be a very interesting way for people to have to start to go, what do I need?
And the accessibility of that and the cost. All of that factored into one. Well, this is a big talker, that's for sure. Thanks for coming in and chatting with us, Jennifer Lake. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Coming up, have you heard of Tilly Norwood? We find out why this AI-generated actress is making Hollywood nervous. Well, you might have already seen this, but AI-generated actress Tilly Norwood has been generating headlines and some intense backlash this week from human actors and their unions. Here she is. Tilly is being billed as a fully screen-ready AI actress. This is not a real person, designed for any role and always ready to perform. Her creators hope she could become the next Scarlett Johansson or Natalie Portman, but many in the industry say this technology is taking real work away from real people. For more on AI and the future of film, we are joined by Corey Doran, ACTRA Toronto's AI Committee co-chair. The fact that ACTRA has an AI Committee co-chair tells me that the future is now.
Well, the future is now in a bit of a way, yes. We have to prepare for the incoming implementation of AI in the entertainment industry, but also around the world. This is not just going to be affecting the entertainment industry. This is going to affect every labor sector out there that we have.
Okay, well, let's dig into how it affects actors specifically. Tilly is eliciting some big reactions. I mean, I was watching some of these online. People are scared, I think it's safe to say. As an actor, what did you think when you first saw her, and what are the conversations that are happening right now in your sector?
Well, when I first saw it, to be honest with you, first of all, Tilly's not an actress. Tilly is an it.
Yes.
Tilly is, you could put a face on it, it's just an avatar to zeros and ones. So it is a very glorified Google search bot at this moment.
Okay.
Right? No personality, no distinguishing features, no history, no lived experiences. So there's nothing for the human expression or the human interest or anything to do with the human that comes from it. It all is stolen from other pieces of work that exist. All the photos, all the material that might be out there, and I guarantee you there's probably some Scarlett Johansson and Natalie Portman videos and pictures put into that amalgamation there.
What are the conversations, like how are actors feeling?
Well, first of all, actors are very scared and partly turned off by it as well, because I don't know, when I first saw that video, I wondered if it was a performative art piece, because there was a couple really creepy moments where there's a man sitting at a desk with a bowl of cereal, and he looks to the camera and goes, I can't wait to be able to tell her everything to do. And she can't say no. There's some really creepy connotations within the ad. Yeah. Very, very scary stuff.
We know that AI is generated by programmers, so then what goes into programming a Tilly?
Okay, fantastic question. So what it will do is when you program an agentic body like that, it will go through all of the data that has been put into its server. And so it will then amalgamate and create an image based on the prompts that the individual put in. So they wanted to create an attractive, young, white female, and that is what they created. And they probably put in prompts, say, something along the lines of someone in between a Scarlett Johansson and a Natalie Portman. And that's the image that will pop up.
AI is increasingly, we know, being used across film and television and movies and music. And when it comes to performers, so the AI singer, Zanya Monet, was just signed to a $3 million record deal. So this AI-generated performer has a record deal for $3 million. How is AI changing the media landscape?
AI is changing the media landscape in many ways because there's a deep fear of loss of jobs. So one great way of approaching it is for every performer that is in a film, there's 10 integrals. So there's 10 other people employed in the film industry for every one person you see on set. So whenever they talk about this, they said 90%, they can save 90% on any film. Well, I assure you that the performers are only about 10 to 15% of the total budget. If you're going to remove 90% of a budget, that means you've removed 90% of the people who work on a film.
Makeup artist, for example. You don't need a makeup artist.
Makeup artist, stunt, background, set, every single thing, wardrobe, all of that can go away is what they're trying to pitch. That means there's no humans involved in it, just one person at a desk typing in prompts. Who's that person? And what is their view on life, and what would be culturally appropriate to them becomes
Wouldn't they just
the
work
filter.
with, like, just to play devil's advocate, wouldn't they just work with the director, and the director's like, I need it to look like this, sound like this, act like this, and do this?
Maybe, but there's not a lot of directors who are probably going to work with it too, because they have no control. They really don't have any say. You're prompting it in, and something will be suggested and pop up. But you're not going to have a Stanley Kubrick or a Steven Spielberg or anyone approach these bots and say, I'm going to be able to get something that will interact with another human live on film and be believable.
That's what I was wondering about yesterday. One other question for you.
Yeah.
Who gets the money? So in Zanya Monet's case, for example, who gets that $3 million?
That is a great question because there's a lot of gray areas around the legality of copyright and AI. Because currently you have to have a high involvement of human effort in any creation for it to have a copyright put down around it. Now, all we're talking about is prompts, so we haven't had anything in a Supreme Court, or whether it be in Canada, the United States, or EU, to really define how much human involvement needs to be involved for it to be able to be considered a work that could then be given a copyright to it. So there is a danger that if you have an AI, pop star or actor, that whatever they're in cannot be copywritten, which means if you have a product or a very famous franchise, anyone can take that image and take it anywhere. Just like Tilly, anyone could take Tilly and make her do whatever they want because you can't copyright that.
It's fascinating to be working this out in real time with committees like yourself. Corey Doran, thanks so much for coming in today.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for bringing attention to this.
Ahead on your morning, why a growing number of small music venues are shutting down across the country. I know it may not feel like it in some parts of Canada yet, but guys, cold weather's coming. Yeah, sorry to say. So now is the time to start thinking about how to prep your house and your home for winter. Builder and renovation expert Ryan Thompson is joining us this morning with his tips. Nice to see you.
You too. Thanks for having me.
Okay, let's start with freezing pipes. Obviously a big concern. So we're talking like, outdoor hoses, faucets, that type of thing. What should we be doing to prep?
Yeah, so the big thing is making sure you actually drain your hose bib. So you have two shutoffs. You're gonna have one that's actually at the faucet, which most people know, okay, shut that off. And then you have a secondary one, which is gonna be located inside. Sometimes it's in an exposed area, sometimes it's behind an access panel, and that will be your secondary shutoff, and that will have a drain. Very important, you pull that drain, and exactly. So there's your shutoff, and then you see that little drain behind it. That's gonna be where you release all the water through the line. And that's a very important tip that some people forget.
Because the concern is what? That it will
freeze.
And?
Explode, right?
Not good. Air conditioning units, we've been pumping them for the last couple of months. How can we prep them for the fall? So
what I like to do to prep them for the fall is actually cover them. There's some people can just put a tarp over top of it. I use custom sizes that, a bag that fits the unit. And really the point of doing this is just to protect it from the debris that comes from fall and winter, right? These condensers, you can obviously clean them, but if you just protect them like this, it makes the cleanup more minimal and ultimately just extends the life of your unit. So it's something very simple to do that,
And look at that, it's like a big hug.
Yeah,
for the winter.
Perfectly.
Yeah, okay, so that's air conditioners. Let's talk about furnaces. We actually turned our furnace on at a property we had. Well, the guest did, and it didn't work. And this is the kind of year, this is the time of year to figure that out because why? Because it's gonna get busy.
Exactly, so that's exactly it, is turning on your furnace, your fireplace ahead of time before, Kelsey says, hey, we got a cold snap and you actually need it. Because to your point, what happens is all the HVAC companies get the call at the same time when everybody's turning on their furnace and they're having that problem. So give it a little test. I mean, my fireplace, it took, a minute to start up, which is a little bit longer because, again, it was the first time. So you want to know that stuff ahead of time.
Absolutely. Right? This is interesting. Okay, look around your property, look at the tree limbs. Why do you say that?
Yeah, because the tree limbs, when you have dead limbs, half broken limbs, those are going to be problems come wintertime, right? When you have snow, when you have ice build up on them, whether they start falling on your house, your car, you in the backyard, you just want to address those problems now. And it's very visible to see too, because typically if you're looking at your trees, and again, I'm not an arborist, but you can kind of spot the dead limbs, the ones that have no leaves on them. And so you can just cut them now. And so a couple options for cutting them. I always maintain you don't want to be on a ladder and trying to cut your tree limbs. So pole saw is a very good tool that you can use, which extends to like a 2nd story height. And
you can rent, right?
You can rent those. You can buy those. There's electric ones. There's ones that are literally just like a saw that you saw back and forth. Those are a really good tool to just address those higher hanging branches that can become a problem.
And speaking of trees, we've got falling leaves. Obviously, a big part of our time spent in the fall is raking those leaves, putting them in bags. Now, you recommend using leaf bag inserts. Why? Yeah. What's that?
I'm sure you've seen it where your neighbor's outside battling the bag when they're doing some leaf cleanup, right? And so these inserts, I like them because you simply put them in the bag, unfold them, and it keeps the bag sturdy in place. It doesn't topple over. So when you're putting your leaves in it, you have a nice big opening. Very, very seamless process.
Right, so you take the bag and you put it.
Yeah, so you'll see. You
Okay.
open up your bag.
By the way, great videos. Did your wife shoot these for you?
She shot a couple. I shot a couple.
This is amazing. You know what my problem is? We put the leaves in the bag, and then we leave them in the backyard, and then it
And they
rains
get
and
wet.
stuff, and we're like, oh, now we got to do this again. Oh, this is great.
So see, you just pop it back, and then now you have a nice opening.
Ryan Thompson, thanks for making it simple for us. It's good to see you as always.
You too. Thanks.
Another small music venue is closing its doors in Toronto, and this is fueling concerns about the future of Canada's live music scene. Earlier this month, the Velvet Underground shared it's going to permanently close at the end of October. The 350-person capacity venue is joining a growing list of small concert venues that have had to shut down for good right across the country. For more on why it's happening, we're joined in studio this morning by Jonathan Bunce. He's the artistic and executive director of Wavelength Music. Welcome.
Thanks, Anne-Marie, for having me.
I'm sorry that we're chatting about such a sad topic. In the past 12 months, we've seen closures. I want to list some of them for people. There's the Dakota Tavern in Toronto, and then 648 Kingsway in Vancouver, Blue Dog Bar in Montreal, the Dream Cafe in St. John's. What are the main factors that are driving these closures? Because the accessibility of music is more than ever, so why these venues closing?
Well, in the research that we did in a study called Reimagining Music Venues, we found out the biggest factors affecting small and grassroots music venues are the economic factors. The profit margins are really small. Some research in the UK indicates that the average profit margin for a grassroots music venue is about 0.5%. So usually they're driven by a passionate entrepreneur or a collective of entrepreneurs who are really just struggling to stay alive often. Really just, they love music, they found a place where they want to host concerts, and it's about keeping this place alive for the love of the music. So in the case of Velvet Underground, it's actually kind of ironic because they're owned by a multinational company, Live Nation. They started out as an independent venue in the early days in the 90s, but since 2019 have been owned by Live Nation, who also owns some of the bigger concert venues in Toronto, like Bud Stage and Rogers Stadium. And even they couldn't keep Velvet Underground alive, which makes you wonder what's going on there. We don't actually know why Velvet closed, other than that they wouldn't renew their lease or decided not to renew their lease. So we can only speculate as to the reasons why. But other independent venue operators have talked to us about rising costs across the board, like the increasing cost of insurance and labor. Even artist fees are increasing because artists are making less money touring, so they're asking the promoters and venues for bigger fees to help cover their costs.
Yeah, you've described small concert venues as the first step from the basement to the world stage for artists. And in 2020, Tate McRae, for example, she's a great example. She performed at Velvet Underground. 5 years later, she's selling out arenas and she's on this worldwide tour.
Yeah.
How does the loss of these intimate concert venues affect Canada, not just fans, but Canada's music industry as a whole?
Well, original live music is actually one of Canada's biggest cultural exports. And without these vital spaces to incubate original music, we're going to see we might see this original music die out. And it's really important that there's spaces for new artists to perform, to test their craft, to hone their craft, to test out their songs. We're also seeing rehearsal spaces close, especially in Toronto. So there's a real focus, I think, on the need for culture and the need for support for these crucial spaces that are at the bottom of the venue ladder, because you can't get all the way up to the Rogers Stadium without going along all the steps along the ladder.
I guess that's my next question is then what is the solution? Because the love of music for fans is still there. And people want to see live music. I mean, they're paying hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars to see their favorite artists at an arena. So what can be done to save some of these smaller venues?
Well, part of it does start with the showgoer. You know, it's fun to go out and see your favorite band play at a big stadium, but that costs so much now. You know, I'd love to see, instead of people spend $200 to see one big stadium show where the band is this big, to think about for that same money you could see 10 smaller shows where you're going to see the band up close and have an experience of saying, I saw that band way before they became huge, and that experience will stay with you for a long time. But then, of course, like, public support is really important. I think we need to start thinking about music venues the same way we do parks or community centers. live music has a huge economic impact. And there was a study last year by the Canadian Live Music Association which showed that the economic value of music in Canada, live music in Canada, is $10 billion. It has something like 30-to-1 ratio of return to investment in terms of taxes. So there's a huge economic impact that comes from the support of live music. Here in Toronto, we're seeing some really exciting things happen with city-owned spaces. Right. Being given over to music groups. There's a space down the street. We're on Queen Street here. There's a space down the street called It's Okay Studios that was a shoe store owned by the City of Toronto that was given over to a Black-led collective who were able to transform it into a space not just for music but also for co-working and art galleries. Right. Hughes Room Live is a great example of a space that was forced to close due to real estate pressure. They were forced out of their old space. They were operating as a folk club. Yeah. They were basically able to reinvent themselves as a charity and then start to get donations from their community and bought a church in the East End with the support of the city.
Creatives getting creative on the economic side of things.
Exactly, that's what's needed.
Jonathan, thanks so much for coming in. We appreciate the conversation.
Great to chat with you, Anne-Marie.
Next week on Your Morning, the new fad of healthy energy drinks. Are they really good for you, or is it just marketing? We find out.
Hi, Canada. Welcome to the weekend edition of Your Morning. I'm Anne-Marie Mediwake.
I'm Lindsey Deluce.
I'm Kelsey McEwen. Hope you're having a great start to your day.
Yeah, we have some really fascinating interviews coming up, including my sit-down with Olympian Jeromeblake. We talk about how, this is a really fast guy. Right now, he's Canada's fastest runner in 2025, but his ultimate goal is to break Donovan Bailey's 100-meter world record from back in 1996.
What is that record?
9.84 seconds. Oh. Still holds.
I'm still working on the app. From the couch to the 5K.
Oh, you almost said 4K.
How's that going?
I'm trying to get off the couch. Kelsey, you're a runner though.
Yeah, like sometimes, like loosely. I think so many kids do track in school.
Yeah.
I was one of those kids. But that's why I love when we talk to our track athletes, because they are so relatable to so many kids who are wanting to get into running.
Yeah.
Right? Here's Anne-Marie with that conversation.
Fresh off a silver medal win, Team Canada athlete Jeromeblake is on a hot streak. The recent win was in the men's 4x100-meter relay at this year's World Athletic Championships, alongside teammates Andre DeGrasse, Brendan Rodney, and Aaron Brown, who all won gold together. You'll remember at last year's Olympics. That was a very exciting moment. This year has brought Jerome record-breaking times, some personal bests, earning him the nickname Canada's fastest man of 2025. And he slowed down enough to join us in studio this morning. Welcome to Your Morning.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Why did you laugh when I said you were on a hot streak?
It's one of those things where as a track and field athlete, you don't really think about it like that. So for me, it's funny hearing it. So it's definitely made me smile.
Listen, you've had a really incredible year. So congrats, first of all.
Thank you.
Not just with the win with the team, but for you personally, you've become the 4th Canadian sprinter to go sub-20 in the 200 meters, and you now hold Canada's fastest time for 100 meters for this year.
Yeah, so, and the 200 meters as well, so both of them.
So both 1 and 200.
Yes.
Double congrats. What clicked for you this season?
I think the confidence. Track and field is one of those things where, like, the more you believe in yourself, the easier it is to do things that you typically can't really tell yourself you can do. So for me, it's just the confidence I've built this year with my coaching staff and just everyone else around me. So it definitely helped a lot.
And the gold and silver medal doesn't hurt?
No, it doesn't.
Listen, I want to ask you about chasing a personal best.
Right.
Donovan Bailey, we know, has held the 100-meter world record since 1996. And you've said your goal, your personal goal, is to beat that time, which, a reminder, is 9.84 seconds.
Right.
You're still chasing this?
Of course. I mean, one of those things, having like really big goals definitely helps you a lot, and definitely motivates you to, and push you to actually work towards something. So for me, the goal is to definitely break the Canadian record over 100 meters, which is 9.84. And I know I have the potential to do it. So that's why it's easy for me to speak it. So now it's one of those things where for next season, just go back and, continue to work at it and do it.
Is that always in your mind, every run, every practice, that time?
No, it's not there. But because I know I haven't really done the runs that I feel like I can do to really put myself in that spot yet, so I'm just slowly working towards it.
Tell me about the moment, though, when you became the fastest at the 100-meter in Canada this year.
I can't really remember it. It's just one of those things where you line up for the race and you go and the time comes up and you just like, okay, that was pretty cool, but how do I do that again? And so that's the goal now, is just basically go out there, be consistent every time you step on the track and just be able to just run very fast times.
That's why you're an Olympian. You've worked with this relay team for years, and you made your Olympic debut with them back in 2020.
Yes.
You won gold last year in Paris, which was amazing to see. So how have you worked to build the trust and the chemistry with this group of guys?
It's one of those things where a lot of people don't really see it, right? Because there is so much more people behind the scenes. Like, I was one of those guys who was there watching from 2019 all the way up until the Olympics in 2020. So for me, just to be able to be a part of that team and just be out there with the guys and understand that, like, it's more than just myself. And I know the amount of hours that we put into it together, and, you know, the amount of time that's spent off the track and on the track, reviewing videos and, you know, sitting up late at night, like playing dominoes and hanging out. That we build that trust that we have now, so it's more like a brotherhood in a sense.
Nice.
And there's more guys there that a lot of people don't really see, of Dwayne Asamoto and Malachi Murray and Eli as a GB. So there's guys there that they're waiting in the wings and they're just as hungry as we are. So it's definitely going to be a good thing to see them when they get the opportunity, what they do with that as well. So for us, it's definitely a good thing just to, you know, continue to work and develop as a team. So there's more guys in the back that when they come out, everyone's going to be just as surprised as, you know, when I joined the team in 2020 and what we did at the Olympics.
You know what I like, Jerome? I like that you talk about your competition with a smile on your face, because you see them all as everybody coming up.
Right.
I like that. You know, you talked about watching, and you weren't always a sprinter. Part of that time watching, you were in hurdles and in other track events.
Yeah.
Now, you're the fastest man at 100 meter and 200 meter in Canada this year. How did you make the switch?
Just having people who believe in you. So my first coach ever when I moved to Kelowna, Pat, she saw me and she said, I think you could be a sprinter. And we spent years working at it. And, you know, and from there, it just developed and it clicked. And we continued to work at it, and to where I'm at now, just being one of the best athletes in the world and just continue to grow.
When did you believe, though, that you could be one of the fastest sprinters? Because that's where it was at, right in your head.
I think it was last year, you know, just
last year.
Yeah, because you have a certain level of confidence, but you can't really show it until somebody really pulls it out of you. And then switching coaches and moving to a more professional setting where a coach really believes in you and tells you, you know, you can do the things that you really believe in. And once you put in the work and you realize, okay, like, I'm really good at this, so then you start developing that confidence. The work really pushes you to believe.
Just really quickly before we go, there's work and then there's work. And you work it on the runway, which is funny because you're a sprinter.
Yeah.
When did the modeling start? Could we put up some pictures of that? There you are. This is in New York Fashion Week, right?
Yes, that was, yes.
So how is the modeling side of things going?
It's good. I mean, it's good because that's actually what I did before I even started running. So I did modeling and acting, then started taking track and field serious because I realized I guess I'm talented at running. So I kind of started taking it serious after that.
What is this path that you were on, Jerome? You started as a model, you decided to do hurdles, now you're the fastest man in Canada this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you try to push your limits, right? It's always good to just try different things and not just limit yourself, right? And that's one thing I believe, it's no one has a limit. So the only limits that's there is the ones that you set for yourself. And I don't think nothing's really impossible for me. It's just always believe in myself and try new things and see where it takes me.
Jerome, no limits. I love that. Listen, we do have a limit, and that is time. So I have to say goodbye.
Chris Hadfield might just be the epitome of a multi-hyphenate success. Astronaut, commander of the ISS, veteran of 3 space flights. He has lived underwater and in outer space. He's also a best-selling author, having launched a growing number of books into the world, and he's adding one more to that list. Final Orbit is the latest installment in his Apollo murder series. Chris Hadfield is once again in our studios. Great to have you back.
It is great to see you. Thanks very much.
I'd like to talk to you about the new book, but first of all, I want to get your thoughts on the late Jane Goodall. You put up a post yesterday talking about the last time the two of you met. What do you believe is her legacy?
Jane went to Africa very much as a new set of eyes to try and understand the history of life like ours, studying chimpanzees, and she spent decades there. And she became so intimately aware of something no one had ever really understood. And I think it taught us a lot about ourselves. She saw that chimpanzees are so thoughtful and kind and loving, but they're also violent, and they wage war on each other, and they commit genocide. And to see those behaviors in the animal that is most closely related to us, I think allowed our entire species to hold up a mirror and maybe understand ourselves better through Jane's eyes.
Oh, thank you for remembering her with us this morning. I want to talk about your book. This is fiction, but you point out right off the jump that many of these people that this is based on, much of this actually did happen in real people. So who's in this one? Your main character is Kaz, and Kaz is back.
Yeah, Kaz and Svetlana, the steadily brewing relationship between those two.
Is my favorite.
Yeah, she's my favorite too.
Yeah.
But it's just after just after Nixon and the Watergate scandal was over. So Gerald Ford is in there. And in the summer of '75, when this book is set, 2 women shot bullets at Gerald Ford, for real. There were 2 assassination attempts. Huh. And so that is an interesting part of the plot. And then it's got some legendary astronauts on both sides. Got Tom Stafford and Alexei Leonov, and then it's got this amazing Chinese character who came to the United States as a scholar and helped found Caltech and the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And then under the McCarthy years, he was blacklisted and then deported, and he set up the Chinese space program. And that's a real guy. And almost nobody knows that story. And he was the father of the whole Chinese and their nuclear industry as well. And yet he was on his way to becoming an American citizen. So weaving that mistake of history and then how it's unfolded into the world today was a really interesting discovery in writing the book.
And makes for an interesting read as well. Listen, there's a little bit of Russian language in here, which got me thinking, how many languages do you speak or understand? Because I know as an astronaut, you need to handle more than just English.
Well, I studied French through the elementary and high school system, and then, but I studied German in high school, but only basic high school German. And then I learned French much better when I was in the military, and then as an astronaut. And then I studied Russian for 20 years, and I was NASA's director of operations in Russia, and I was the pilot of a Russian rocket ship and spaceship. So I speak Russian passably. So I don't. The answer to your question is, I guess, English pretty well. French and Russian, okay, a little bit of German.
Okay, well, that's nothing to sneeze at, Chris Hadfield. Listen, you've told us in the past how much you love doing the research for this book. I mean, that's evident. When it comes to the calling the friend portion of your research, your Rolodex, if people still know what a Rolodex is, your Rolodex must be pretty stacked. Who were you calling up to help in this book?
So I called up Rusty Schweikart, who was on Apollo 9. And, he was one of the original Apollo guys. I talked to Bob Crippen, who did the first flight of the space shuttle, but he was the backup for several of the things that occur in final orbit. And Bob, he's retired, lives down in Florida now. I talked to Gene Kranz, cool. When Houston, we have a problem on Apollo 13, Gene was the flight director in Houston, and Gene loves the book. He just got the copy in his hands. He sent me a note this week. So being able to call the people that were actually in the book is a real lucky benefit for me as an author.
Listen, James Cameron seems to really like this series of books. Yeah. Is there any chance that we're going to see this in the film version?
We've optioned the series for movie and TV, but then someone else has to really make a huge financial bet in order to turn that into a TV series or a movie. And there's people nibbling on the line. We'll wait and see. I think it'd make a fun series to watch. And Jim has been pretty busy with Avatar, but we'll see. You never know.
That would be very exciting. Listen, if you need a spot for a newscaster, I'm here. Chris Hadfield, it's great to have you back in the studio. A reminder to everybody, this new book is called Final Orbit.
Coming up, we are in the kitchen with creative ways to make focaccia. We've been talking about it all morning, and now we are ready for our deep dive into the life of a showgirl, Taylor Swift's 12th album. We're going to give you a quick taste of the lead single, The Fate of Ophelia. So for more on the album, Ruby Carr with iHeartRadio is here. Happy Taylor Swift Day. How many times have you listened to it this morning?
Okay, so I've listened to it twice this morning.
Okay, and?
I really like it.
Okay.
I'm not out here trying to get canceled this morning, so don't come for me, okay? But I was not a tortured poets gal, which is the beauty of Taylor Swift. She's got eras, so if you aren't into one, you might be into another. So I was very excited for something a little more upbeat, which is what we just heard with The Fate of Ophelia. So for me, as a person with a radio show, I am excited for us to have a little bit more upbeat Taylor and something new to play on the show.
Okay, one of my favorite sort of breakdowns so far this morning about the album is that there's 12 songs, 12 tight songs, and half are about her being goofy and in love with Travis Kelsey, and the other 6 are about the dark side of the industry.
Yes, she definitely gives us a little sneak peek into the life of a showgirl, into what it's like dealing with the industry executives and dealing with, you know, people's opinions and expectations of her. So that's really interesting. And then, yes, we do get the goofy side, which I think people were hoping for a little bit of Travis Kelsey in there because this is the first album that she's recorded the whole thing while they were dating.
Yeah.
So we knew we were gonna get a little bit of him, like the song Honey, she sort of reimagines how she hears Honey now that she's with him. There's another song where she imagines what their life could be like away from the public with a basketball net in the driveway. So there are a lot of sweet moments. Wood is a little more cheeky. I'll let you listen to that one.
I read the list already.
Yeah, so.
Not the ones you want your kids singing along in the minivan.
No, definitely not.
Let's talk about this title, The Fate of Ophelia. It's the lead single. We're gonna get the music video this weekend when it opens in theaters. It's the first song on this album, so how do you think it sets everything up for fans? This is the one that is beautiful and poetic, and it's a bit like a short story.
Yes, you know, it's theatrical like we know Taylor is. Like I said, it's a little bit more upbeat, which I think fans were hoping for and looking for. So I think it sets the tone that we're not still in Tortured Poets. We've moved on to this new sort of mood. And also Max Martin and Shellback produced the album with her, and those names made people go, okay, so this is going to be a pop album.
Yeah.
And I think this one sets the tone that this is a pop album. It's not necessarily the super pop that we were expecting, but it is a little more upbeat, and this one's fun, and I'm looking forward to hearing it again and again.
Her lyrics are so clever, her diss tracks are brilliant, and the latest is actually romantic. I'll let everybody have a little listen to it, and then you and I'll break it down.
But it's actually sweet. All the time you've spent on me, it's honestly wild. All the effort you've put in, it's actually.
Okay, so the scuttlebutt on this one, the rumor is that it's about Charlie XCX. Yes, because she references drug use, which Charlie references in her own music. She talks about someone referring to her as boring, which apparently Charlie did. These ones are always tough because, you know, the Swifties, they dig into these and they look into it and they want to know who it's about. So it could be about her. She is close with Taylor's ex, Maddie Healy. So that's why fans also think it's about her because she talks about in the song, you know, you're glad that he ghosted me. And so it could be about her. But then Charlie did an interview where she made a great point too. And this was not after this came out, and she talked about how we pit these pop stars against each other and we all expect them to be best friends, and neither thing is realistic. Sometimes you can just be mid. So is it about Charlie XCX? I mean, maybe, but we would need Taylor to confirm that.
Okay. There's a great Sabrina Carpenter collab on here. Kelsey really likes this one. It's on a song called The Life of a Showgirl. Sabrina and Taylor have a long history, so tell us about this collaboration and what the song could bring.
This is the duo that we knew we needed. I love these two together. I think their voices really complement each other. Sabrina Carpenter opened for Taylor on the Eras Tour.
Yeah.
Also, Sabrina Carpenter, look at this. She's been a fan for so long. This is a cover of Pictures to Burn.
Oh my
that
word.
she posted when she was just like the sweetest little tiny baby.
Before she started wearing lingerie all the time.
Someone tell this little girl that she's gonna get to be on Taylor's album one day.
That's amazing.
Like, are you kidding me? I just think it's a wholesome moment to see the two of them together.
Really quickly, what can fans expect as they head to theaters this weekend, which is a brilliant play again by Taylor Swift?
It's a brilliant play. They're gonna get to see the video. It's the world premiere of the Fate of Ophelia video. Some behind the scenes stuff, some making of stuff, some lyric videos. I mean, Taylor's gonna make another $1 jillion. That's what they're gonna see.
I love it. When does this woman have time to do? How did she date and do an Eras tour and write a new album?
I have no idea. Like, when does she sleep? She doesn't.
Yeah,
she doesn't.
She does not have a sleeping era. Ruby, always great to have you here, and I love your shirt.
Thank you.
I love that you wore it just for us this morning.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We've been counting down the minutes to this segment. We really have. Bread lovers, today is your day because we are talking all things focaccia. Food expert Andrea Bucket joins us this morning with tips on making focaccia from scratch, by the way. And she's got some creative and tasty toppings to customize our bread. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
I'm so excited about this.
It smells amazing in here,
Yep.
so
Can't wait
I'm
to taste
excited
it.
as well. Focaccia, you love
Yeah,
it?
love it.
Love it.
Can
Really
I
easy.
remind everybody we've got that QR code on your screen right now. You can follow along and make this at home. Let's talk about the dough because you've got a day of recipe.
This is the day of recipe. So focaccia is a yeasted dough typically, and it's a high hydration dough. So often what happens is you make it a day ahead, you let it sit in the refrigerator, and then you do it the next day. But we're gonna do same dough focaccia, okay?
Yeah.
So the ingredients are basic. You've got water, you've got honey, you've got yeast, you've got a little bit of salt, and then of course you've got flour. We're using all-purpose flour. Some recipes call for bread flour. I would just start with the all-purpose flour.
I didn't even know there was bread flour.
Yeah, bread flour has like a higher protein content, so it does change the structure a little bit.
Okay.
Once you make the bread and it sits for 15 minutes, you're going to pull and stretch it. Now, wet hands, I have a little bowl of water down here.
If you're wondering where she's going down here, I'll be your water bowl holder.
Right? So what
I'm a
you're
water
gonna do
girl.
is stretch and fold. So you're gonna pull
Bend
it up
and
on,
snap.
boom, just
Right?
like that, okay?
It's
And then-
kind of the same. Do you remember Bend and Snap?
I don't know what that is.
That's from what's the movie? Legally Blonde, remember?
Oh.
Have you ever
Sorry.
seen it?
I have, but I feel like it wasn't my thing.
I'll show you the move in a second.
L is her name. All right, so you're gonna do this like 10 times, okay? And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna cover it again for 15 minutes.
Okay.
And set it aside. And you're gonna do that sort of 3 times, and then it's gonna be ready to go.
Do you want to do any more water?
No, I wanna get rid of this, Linz.
Okay.
All right.
And then what do we do?
Okay, so then after the last 15 minutes it sits, you're gonna put it on a sheet pan, and this is where the dimpling comes in. This is sat for another hour on here.
I really want to do this.
You wanna do, okay,
Can
go
I-
for it.
Wait, sorry, I just got to put my hands in water.
I don't think it's gonna stick now, but yeah, if it does stick, just use a little bit of water. That's also a good tip when you're making meatballs so they don't stick to your hands.
Oh, yeah?
You know when you do meatballs?
Yeah.
That's another segment.
Okay, look at this.
All right? Okay, so now remember, this is focaccia. It's not pizza.
Yeah.
But we are gonna make a pizza-flavored focaccia. So we're gonna start here with half of the shredded cheese, and you wanna put this on here because focaccia dough is already a little bit wet. You sort of wanna protect the dough from the sauce, which is gonna go on next. So you're gonna dollop the sauce on next.
Solid. Okay.
This is kind of almost like a Detroit-style pizza, so you don't have to necessarily spread it out if you don't want to.
Okay.
And then I'm just honestly going to like pile on the pepperoni. I mean, because once it cooks, it's going to expand, and then they're going to sort of spread out. Just pile that on.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And can you put any? You can really put anything.
You can put anything you want. You don't want to do it too much because then it won't cook. The focaccia. Remember, it's not a pizza. It's a pizza focaccia.
Pizza.
What she said, right? And then it comes out looking like this, right? Super beautiful. I know we haven't even cut
I'm
it for
like,
you.
how do I eat this?
This is very cruel to Lindsay because I know you love to
Look
eat
at
it.
how delicious this looks.
But let's move on to the next
Okay,
one. Maybe
as
we'll
you-
have another. Are you gonna just?
If
oh
I
wow!
just do this.
Oh wow!
Is this too much?
It's a little much.
Is it?
But no, it's not enough. Me too.
Wanna try? I'm so romantic.
So good.
Oh
We
my
do
God,
have another
it's good.
recipe to get to if you
Oh,
want.
okay, yeah, go.
Now that my mouth is full.
Sorry.
Okay, this is jelly donut focaccia. So you're getting a plain focaccia here. You're gonna put holes in the focaccia, and then you're gonna go in with whatever jelly you like. I prefer raspberry
way.
jelly. And you're just going to squeeze it in there.
You feel like a surgeon?
Lindsay, I don't know what kind of vibe you're giving here today.
You started it.
And then you're gonna drizzle. I'm gonna let you drizzle it with some glaze, just lemon and icing sugar, so it adds a sweetness to a focaccia that's typically savory, right? More. I mean, just go for it.
It's just so sticky. So, you
right.
just want me to just give her?
Just give her.
Yeah, you're right.
Why not? Why stop now, Lindsay? Is what I'm
What?
saying.
This is such a creative idea. Oh my gosh, okay.
And then
There we
just
go.
smear it on top.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, you're in
Lovely.
your glory.
I know, I feel
Jelly
really
donut
relaxed.
focaccia, really delicious.
feel
Really
relaxed.
easy to do. Do you feel relaxed?
I do.
Baking always does that.
It does. Okay, can we try?
Let's do it.
Okay, were you and I gonna go for the same one?
No, I still have.
I feel like
pizza
we're on a
focaccia
date
in my
right
mouth.
now.
I know.
I know, it's so romantic. And you can use other toppings too.
You can use any other toppings they want. You can put chocolate chips in there. You can do Biscoff cookie dough in there.
That's really good. Love this. Food expert and my date for the day, Andrea Bucket. Thank you very much.
Excellent.
Always a pleasure to have you. A reminder. Okay, no, that was a fake burp. A reminder, today's recipes are on that QR code you can scan right now. Coming up Monday on Your Morning, the FIFA World Cup is coming to Canada, but is it too late to book a hotel room? We find out.
That's all for us today on Your Morning Weekend. Don't forget, Scan the QR codes for Your Morning, our newsletter, and you can listen to great conversations on Your Morning, the podcast.
We have another awesome week coming up with lots of cooking, which we love.
Yum.
Tuesday, we will be in the kitchen cooking up quick and easy Indian food. On Wednesday, we have breakfast tart recipes, and on Thursday, we are making kimbap.
That's so good.
Delicious. Yeah.
Yum, I love it. And then on Friday, we are being joined by Donnie Wahlberg to talk about his Blue Blood spinoff series, Boston Blue.
Yeah, it was a really fun conversation. Thanks for making us part of your weekend, Canada. We hope you have a lovely Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week.